All right, boys, we are one day away from the draft. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Thought I would get on here and give you a quick rundown on the money and some general thoughts on the keepers from this past weekend. Um, the three owners with the least amount of money are the following. John Malpas coming in at third place, 66 bucks going into tomorrow night. Then comes Pinnock. Pinnock, number two. Good job, Pinnock. 65 bucks to spend. And the owner with the least amount of cash to spend tomorrow night is our champion, Zach. Zach had adopted the $1 a player policy, possibly. So we'll see how that works out. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got the three top owners with the most amount of money coming into tomorrow night. Ramy coming in at 139 bucks to spend, so he'll be active. Then Steve's got 155 bucks. Now keep in mind, last year Steve was touted as a fantasy guru, and he demonstrated that by drafting pretty much all rookies last year, and so he ends up having a lot of $5 keepers, which gives him 155 bucks to spend in the auction. We'll see if he can draft a little better this year. And of course, the person with the most cash going into tomorrow night, me, big boy, 172 bucks. That is the most money I've ever had going into the draft, and I'm excited to have some money to spend on some players. I'm excited about my keepers. Brian doesn't like them, but I guess that's why they're not Brian's keepers. I'm happy with mine, and I'm excited to have 172 bucks to spend during the auction tomorrow night. Most of you did a really good job. I looked over everybody's teams yesterday, and for the most part, there weren't any like totally outlandish, scratch my head keepers that were kept. There were a few, however. So, for example, Rudy, he went big in the pitching. He's got $33 on Bumgarner, $37 on Lester. Lester's a good pitcher. Is he worth 37? And then Tanaka at 27. So he spent a lot of money on his pitching. Pinnock, some questionable keepers, Pinnock. Jason Kipnis out with a shoulder injury. 24 bucks on him. When is he going to come back? Who knows? Adam Jones, 36 bucks. Now, Adam Jones is a good outfielder. Great name. Certainly highly valued by you, because nobody can ever get him and trade off of you. But then there's the scratcher of all scratchers, Jean Segura, for 40 bucks. 40 bucks on a middle infielder, Pinnock. Man, those algorithms must be telling you some inside information, because that's unbelievable. 40 bucks on Jean Segura. Father and son, 31 bucks on Posey. That's a lot for a catcher. Would you have been able to get Posey for a little less than that? Boy, I hope he's worth it. And then Steven Strasburg at 28. If you look at skills only, yeah, pretty awesome. But boy, are you even going to get a half a year out of Steven Strasburg? That's the question. So a lot of money on Steven Strasburg. Joe Boo's pretty good. Only questionable one. Is Freddie Freeman worth 25 bucks? Metzger, same with you, pretty good. Question is Jose Abreu and Marte especially at 34? That's pretty high. Malphus, you kept Votto at 34. That's pretty high. Mark Wilson, Hamels at 25. Debatable. And then Muncy, Ryan Braun at 26. Is he worth 26, or is it just the name or your man love for the Brewers? That's the question. So all in all, I thought people pretty much did a good job setting their keepers up. A few of those, especially the Jean Segura at 40, pretty questionable. So as we get started with the season coming up, a couple of thoughts. First of all, We will not be running waivers at all this year. I did post a video briefly because I kind of couldn't remember whether we did waivers or not, but after going back and looking at last year's video, it did appear that we did not use waivers last year. So as players are cut, they're going to immediately become free agents, and as a result can be picked up first come, first serve. So the active owners are going to be rewarded by paying attention to the transaction list, who's been cut, and then jumping on that player that has become available. The other thing that was mentioned in a previous video, and if you haven't looked, go back and look at that 2010 video. Classic Ebert Muncie right there. Keep in mind when you're nominating players tomorrow night to pay attention to whether you actually have a spot for that player. If your pitching is all filled up, you can't nominate a pitcher. If you have all of your catchers and your utility spot filled up, you cannot nominate a catcher. So just pay attention to that as we head into the online auction. I will admit I'm a little bit nervous. It's been, I think, 7 years, excuse me, that we've done an online auction. We've only done it once, so it might take a little while to get the flow of how to place a bid and how to increase a bid. Right now, if you go into the auction room, those pieces aren't in there yet because our draft is not active. So it might take us a little while tomorrow night to kind of get that worked out, but hopefully things will run smoothly. Now, as we get started here, I've got to give credit for credit's due. We have finally, for the most part, gotten a very active league. And if you haven't been in the league a while, Josh, you're getting back in. Steve, it's only your second year. We've got some owners that I like to call watchdog owners. You know, the watchdogs, the ones that scour your team, see if you're legal. They comb through the league rules with a fine-tooth comb, and they make sure that rules are being followed, and they will have no mercy on you. Going into the cut downs, you know, we had people counting up players. You got too many on there. Did you cut them by noon? And if not, we had several owners wanting your whole team to be released back into the free agent pool. We will have owners on a daily basis checking for illegal lineups so that you get 0 points. So guys, know that people are watching and they notify me. They take their fantasy baseball seriously, and they will be looking to see whether you are skirting the rules or trying to find a loophole here or there, or possibly just not paying attention. Now, as we get into tomorrow night, I remind you, find yourself your secret place. I've got mine. Draft your teams. The season, I believe, actually starts on Sunday. So that will give us approximately Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday for freebie week pickups. So if you draft terribly, like Muncie usually does, if you come out of that auction with $67 left over and realize you have to totally revamp your team, you've got until midnight on Saturday to do some roster adjustments for free. At midnight, I will be putting the transaction fees into effect. So pickups will be 50 cents and traded players will be 25 cents per owner involved in the trade. So guys, we're going to wrap this up for now. We'll probably have some post-draft analysis. And guys, I challenge you. You know, Muncie's going to get on. I will get on way more frequently. It makes the league more fun, and it's good to kind of see other faces on there. But guys, this is just a little symptom. If you can't take the time to make a video, I question on whether you can take the time to run your team. So I put it out there. Are you an active owner? Are you a couch potato? We'll see you online tomorrow night.